Good evening, everyone. Here for public comment this evening. If we could, everybody, please review the rules of decorum. And if we could get the list of speakers up, that would be helpful. Okay, those crossed out have notified the office that they will not be coming. So we will start with speaker number 2, then 4, 5, 6. If you could make your way up to the podium, please. And it's 2 minutes each.
Madam Mayor, I think Chris Cruz sent an email. He's not going to be here.
Okay. All right. Please, Speaker 4. And you're now Speaker 1. How, imagine that.
Number one. Good afternoon. First of all, I would like to thank the city manager for coming out to speak during our Fair Housing Month program. She read the book The Other Side, and she did an excellent job. Marshall, thank you so much for reading the book. And to the rest of the city council, I'm working with Parks and Recreation in the summer camp program to do a reading of the book The Other Side. So I'm sending an invitation to all of you to come and read, and you will be deployed to different camps. So my invitation. Last but not least, I want to speak about what happened to Mary. I think that was a shame. It was a disgrace. And remember, this city council have a duty to protect government officials. I am asking the city attorney why we aren't investigating what happened to Mary Black. Because this is a hate crime, and hate crime should not be tolerated in the city of Raleigh. We got to stand up and send a message. It is unacceptable to tell people to go back to Africa. Those are hate crimes. Part of that comes because we don't enforce the Fair Housing Act. But to the city attorney, I am asking that we launch a full-fledged investigation. She's supposed to be protected as a government official. And I want to know, why aren't we protecting her? Second, I want them prosecuted. We need to get busy with her investigation and the prosecution. It's not right. That is a hate crime. Hate crimes are unacceptable. And if we enforce the Fair Housing Act, we would really find out. So you have a duty to come to her rescue.
Thank you. Next is Speaker 5678. If you could come up, please. Joel Bryan. Is Joel here? Okay, please pay attention to the where you fall on this and be prepared to come up. Thank you.
I didn't see you change the numbers. I apologize. Good evening. My name is Joel Bryan. As a member of UE 150 City of Raleigh Workers Union, I am here tonight to speak about fair pay for after-hours work. As you know, we are a 24/7, 365 operation. We are asking for fair compensation for work past our scheduled 40-hour week or 8-hour day. If we are required to work 16 to 24 hours on call or as needed, we are required to take the next day off to rest, to be ready if we are on call. We do not receive overtime pay unless we work our scheduled 40-hour week, i.e. 6:30 to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. This also applies to weeks where holidays fall. We are asking for your support in resolving this issue, as well as our Workers' Bill of Rights. We will have other speakers speaking tonight regarding this and other matters. Thank you for your time and hearing our concerns.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, my name is Hua, and I am here for a number of issues. One of them is I am here in solidarity with fellow colleagues at UE 150, seeing as I'm also a UE member, but at NC State University. I think fair wages and decent health benefits should be something that go across the board. Especially, I remember last year when people are coming to, I think last year, 2 years ago, when people are coming to speak on the need to increase wages for the city workers and sanitation workers with regard to taking into account of workplace safety. I mean, it comes down to the question of whether or not you want to pay them adequately for the work that they're doing to maintain the city. It's not easy to keep things running, especially when it's growing. Second, I think that the issue with wages and goes hand in hand with fair housing, which Ms. Octavia has pointed out very briefly. I want to also bring up the situation with how the police cleared out the encampment near Raleigh Garner area. And I know that the city says, oh, we're gonna put this much money toward people, but my understanding, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, is that the city is not accepting any vouchers for public housing as of last October. And also, apparently, the money is going to a local agency to implement a program. So that's where the cynicism comes in, because that's how the city's been doing that for the longest time. How are you directly addressing housing needs when you're asking someone else to take care of it for you? That's what I have to say. Thank you.
So just for clarity, the city does not issue housing vouchers. That's Raleigh Housing Authority in Wake County. Okay, speakers 7, 8, 9, 10.
This on somebody else's name. My name is Aquavi Zeden. Good evening to everyone. I'm part of UE Local 150, City of Raleigh Workers. I'm here to speak on our demands, and hopefully y'all consider what we have to say. Our demands is $38 per hour minimum wage, 10% cost of living adjustments, night differential pay for workers after 3 p.m., adequate shower facilities and public utilities, requests for corporations to pay in lieu of taxes, a new first-time down payment assistance program, hazard duty pay and meals provided with workers, prolonged shift hours during weather, infrastructure failure, and other emergencies. Funding alternatives to police, such as therapeutic emergencies response team. I ask y'all to really take these in consideration. These are our demands. Sorry, I'm under the weather. Thank y'all. If you have any questions y'all want to ask, feel free. I have 55 seconds left.
Thank you. Next, we have speaker 9 and 10. You here? Jeremy Gilchrist. Bell Zanta. Okay. Speakers 11, 12, 13. If people would please, as you see your number being called, come to the front.
ميسة صوتري أهم فلسطين يا اسم التراب باسم السماء ستنتصرين. Today marks 220 days of the ongoing genocide on Gaza. What we have seen from Biden administration is so shameful, claiming of watching footages of beheaded babies. Then after that, a 6-year-old boy getting stabbed 26 times. 3 young college students get shot for wearing kufiya. A peaceful protest by brave young generations can't be complicit in this genocide, brutally attacked and arrested, and still the lies has been spread all over, saying that Jews can't feel safe going to campus, while all thousands of Jewish students are protesting. I'm sick and tired. I'm so disgusted to see how everything that Israel's state of terrorism has to be associated with Jews. It's only associated with killing and Zionism. Disgusting by calling terrorist organizations and associating with Muslims when they are not related to Islam. Disgusted to see a black person getting killed for doing nothing. Screw your jobs, screw your positions, screw your education, screw everything that you believe in. If you think it's okay to kill over 40,000 people, over 15,000 children dead, slaughtered, it's okay. Screw you.
Speaker 11, 13, 14. Speaker 11 here. Okay, Speaker 13.
How you doing? My name is Justin Jenkins, and I'm here to talk about the everybody's talking about the economy and the inflation. And to me, it's not the inflation that's raising the economy; it's the cost of living. The cost because the mortgage companies and the rental companies raised the minimum rates as far as the rent and the mortgages. Everybody's asking for a raise increase. So what that's doing is they're causing companies to readjust themselves. The companies that I work for is about to let go a lot of employees and move their building to a place outside of Raleigh, which has computers and robots doing most of the work. So I don't have a solution for this stuff, but I can just tell you the future, which is going to be a lot of people losing their jobs because of the cost of living and because of the raises that they want and because of jobs can't take care of their people as far as the cost of living. So, I mean, it's going to cause a lot of people, or it's going to cause you all to have to find more jobs for people. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker 14. 15.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity to share my experience working with the City of Raleigh in the VFS Department, Vehicle Fleet Services, underneath Engineering Services. As a member of UE 150, my fellow union brothers and other diesel technicians take care of the city's equipment, garbage trucks, leaf trucks, street sweeper, and anything else keeps the city running smoothly. June 8th of last year, during a technician meeting, our supervisor told us that if we went into the office for the purpose of asking questions, we were going to be disciplined and written up. I personally never heard this in my career. When we asked for clarity, we were told that Victor Avila, the assistant fleet manager, was the one who made this statement or order. So, Neuroff Shop Superintendent Bill Faison had a meeting with employees trying to discuss retention. They met every quarter. And while talking about pay, Bill made a comment one time that the employees just need to learn how to budget our money better. Our shop at Central Ops facility, we had 10 diesel technicians. We asked to have a meeting with management to talk about some of our frustrations in the department and try to spitball solutions. After airing our observations about promotional procedures, scheduling, training, and of course compensation, Fleet Operations Manager Rick Longbart responded, and I quote, "We understand that there will be attrition. If you're not happy here, leave." That statement triggered the exodus of 7 of our 10 technicians from that one shop. During one of the exit interviews in January, Pat Dickerson, the superintendent of Central Ops facility, stated that he was confused as to why everybody was leaving because, according to him, we don't do anything. On February 29th, Victor Avila told the entire Central Ops facility shop that he was happy everyone was leaving. He didn't mean it the way it sounded, but his explanation for it was that he's happy people are finding better places to take care of their families. I take this as admission that the city of Raleigh, that's not going to happen here, so we got to leave. So, good luck. Oh, you can't see it.
Okay, Speaker 16, 17, and 18. If If you could give your name when you come up, please, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Speaker 16, Janice Smith. I had my vehicle hit and run on the State Fairgrounds property, and someone was able to identify the vehicle. I obtained the license tag number. And the fact that it was a female, I obtained enough information to pursue the individual. The fairground security were of no help, and they had no authority to even act on the situation. So I was referred to the Highway Patrol. The Highway Patrol referred me to the Raleigh Police. The Raleigh Police referred me to the Sheriff's Department. They had me going in circles like a chicken without a head for almost 4 months before I found out who had jurisdiction over my situation. I was stopping police officers on the street. I was going to the satellite stations. Anybody I thought could help me. I even texted the mayor of Raleigh, email, didn't get a response. So when I finally got a chance to speak with the sheriff about my situation, he assigned an officer to pursue my issue. The officer met me, all he did was took pictures of my vehicle, and he went and spoke with the people and told me I was right about the identity of the vehicle, the light, everything matched up. But then he said, they sold the vehicle. And he was asking me, what do you want me to do? I'm asking him, well, how do we proceed? And he's asking me, what do you want me to do? And so I realize I'm not getting any help here. I'll go to get a police report. There is not one. I cannot get due process in this situation because there's no police report. The fairgrounds have a report, their own individual report. Now, it took me almost 4 months to find out who had jurisdiction. After I went to all of these places, they did not know. And I couldn't understand why they don't know.
Okay, thank you. City Manager, could we follow up on this, please?
Sure. Amanda, can you get her information? Ma'am, Ms. Smith, if you'll walk back, the Chief of Staff and the Police Department is on the back row.
Okay.
Okay. Good evening. My name's Diane Mayer. I originally signed up tonight to voice my opposition to digital billboards. However, I can no longer remain silent on ceasefire. Demonstrations are breaking out all over the world, including in Israel. We know it is mostly Palestinian women and children that are being killed, not the Hamas fighters. Close to 8,000 children's bodies have been identified. Let me repeat that, 8,000 children's bodies that have been identified. There will be more. We know aid workers are intentionally being targeted. We know people are deliberately being starved. The Palestinian people are being squeezed to death. There is no place to go. There's nowhere safe. No humanitarian zone exists. There's no place to go. No good will come of this. I fear the opposite. History will judge us harshly. Over 30,000 Palestinians and 1,100 Israelis have been killed. It has to stop. The UN ceasefire resolution was signed by 153 countries. More than 100 municipalities across the U.S. have passed ceasefire resolutions. I am asking you to add your voices as our elected representatives. The whole world is watching. Thank you.
Good evening, Donna Bailey. I want to address the vote that was taken last week regarding changing your terms to 4 years. There's been so much discussion about how disastrous the last council was with all the behind-the-scenes activity that changed our city council elections with no citizen input. So now you did get citizen input with 2 surveys and in one person meeting where less than 30 people were in attendance. Both the surveys showed that the residents clearly wanted 4-year terms to go to a referendum on the ballot. The public meeting that was held was pitiful. I'd like to point out that Livable Raleigh had a public forum on the Newbern BRT which Councilors Patton and Melton attended and had over 100 people in attendance. Livable Raleigh is an all-volunteer grassroots organization, and we had a 300% greater turnout than the meeting that was held by the Citizen Engagement Office that has over a $500,000 budget. I'm not sure of that, but I know that's a minimum. Corey, Jonathan, and Stormy, you all participated in the last fiasco, and you have shown that nothing has changed with your ability to represent what your constituents want. It's unfortunate because you could have really made a difference with this vote, and you failed and further undermined any trust and transparency. Corey, this is particularly bad for you since you want to be the next mayor of Raleigh. This shows you are not to be trusted, and your comment of just let the citizens go out and get 5,000 signatures is demeaning. So Livable Raleigh and others in the city are collecting signatures. There are a few clipboards circulating in the audience where I invite any registered Raleigh voter to sign. The bad part is that 4-year terms with a primary is probably the only way to get rid of the plurality voting that you all voted for last time. Raleigh is better than this. I hope you will consider revoting on this promise
Thank you.
that you made to the residents of Raleigh.
Have Speaker 20, 21, 22. Speaker 20. Okay. Speaker 21. Speaker 22.
Are you Dana?
You're Speaker 22. Come on up.
I have a presentation. And how will I advance the slides? Do I just click with the mouse? Okay. And just down. Okay. All right. My name is Jen Hales, and I work as a part-time employee for the city. I know you value equity, and I want to thank you for the changes you made to part-time pay starting in 2022. Thank you. To continue this great work.
Could you speak into the microphone?
Thank you.
Having a little
Yeah.
trouble hearing you.
Sorry. To continue this great work and keep making our city a more equitable workplace, we need your help. Part-time employees make up 1/3 of the city workforce. We need a living wage for part-time workers, raises that reflect inflation, and a seat at the table in HR and benefits conversations. The city's living wage policy applies only to full-time employees. For FY24, the living wage comes out to $19 an hour. Part-time staff are not included in the living wage policy, and most part-timers make less than $19 an hour. I urge you to continue to act as leaders when it comes to affordability and wages in our region. Update the living wage policy to apply to all employees and create a workplace where staff can afford to live in the city where we work. For the past 6 years, part-time raises have been capped at 1% a year. By contrast, inflation has averaged 4% per year over the same period. Like you, I would love to spend my working years in service to my community, but it's hard to stay watching my purchasing power shrink year after year. Help all part-time employees that want to stay for the long haul by implementing a living wage for all employees and offering wages that reflect inflation. Part-time staff are not included on HR committees making decisions around benefits and compensation. This environment can make it hard to reflect the needs of part-time staff and can lead to us not feeling valued. For example, permanent part-time had vision benefits in 2022, but that benefit was removed when vision was decoupled from health insurance. Even permanent part-time workers who have city health insurance aren't covered by the city dental plan. This means I cannot get dental care for myself or my child through the city or through the ACA. These issues are emblematic of a larger failure by the city to consider the needs of part-time workers who make up 30% of the workforce. I advocate that 30% of any committee making HR and compensation decisions should be comprised of part-time staff. This would ensure part-time staff are included in the process and decisions are made with consideration of all city employees. What you can do to help. Include part-time employees in the living wage ordinance.
Thank you. Okay, Speaker 23, 24, 25.
Good evening. My name is Robert Courts, and I'm here to ask the City Council to uphold the current UDO ban on electronic billboards and signs in Raleigh. As a longtime resident of Raleigh, a regular cyclist on our city streets, a father of a teen driver, and a lover of the natural beauty of our city of Oaks, I believe the changes proposed to the UDO ban would increase the many dangers of electronic billboards. In addition, the proposed changes would allow additional clear-cutting around digital billboards, making them stand out even more and trading Raleigh's natural beauty for digital pollution. The only people that would benefit from this UDO change is the companies that own the billboards. The truth about electronic billboards is that they are designed to distract drivers. These giant social media screens make our roadways more dangerous for anybody who rides, drives, or cycles. The areas north and south of town, where all of our static billboards are presently, has some of Raleigh's worst pedestrian and cyclist safety. Digital billboards clear-cut trees and vegetation for hundreds of feet around them, decreasing tree buffers, ruining scenic beauty, harming local and migrating wildlife with 24/7 LED lights. Who wants to see towering social media billboards from their streets, greenways, or homes? Nobody that I know of. All over the world, bored tech-savvy kids or just plain bad actors constantly hack electronic signs and create horrible graphic images and messages. Billboards all over the world and right here in North Carolina are regularly hacked and post hate speech and illicit images. Why open ourselves to such a threat? I ask you, the City Council, to please protect the beauty of Raleigh, protect our drivers, cyclists, and pedestrians, and keep the current UDO ban. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker 24 and 25. Okay, 24, 25, neither is here. Okay, 26.
My name is Hanadi Ali. I'm asking you to take a revote and stand by a permanent ceasefire. I'm asking this because we, the United States, in the last 3 weeks, sent $17 billion for supporting Israel. These weapons are then being used to commit a genocide. Whether we want to admit it or not, it's a genocide. Please make sure that you know that when you're voting no. And it seems the powers at be are justifying this because of the events of 10/7. In the most recent Gaza war of 2014, which this shirt was made of, it wasn't made for this year's war, it was made from a previous war. More than 2,200 Palestinians killed, thousands of Palestinians imprisoned with no valid charges, constant land theft, and no human rights for the Palestinians. No one would live like this without resisting. Now let's for a minute imagine if Palestinians retaliated and were at the numbers Israel is at now, which are worth repeating. Over 34,000 Palestinians killed, more than half are children and women. Over 75,000 Palestinians injured with hospitals not functioning. Children and women are starving, and Israel's settlers destroying and setting fire to aid trucks. If you're not seeing this, you really need to open your media platform, okay? US media is not the way. And although I'm not a Trump supporter, he did say that it was fake news at one time. And before that, I always knew that it was fake news. 30,000 orphans, many injured, burned, or have amputated limbs. Do you see the double standard? Do you see the hypocrisy? It's obvious this was never about the hostages, but rather about colonial imperialism. If it was about the hostages, this collective punishment, massacre in the form of genocide would never have been justified. And if you're thinking about the hostages, you need to think permanent ceasefire.
Thank you. Speaker 27, 28, 29.
Bismillah. Council members Corey and Stormy.
Could you give your name, please?
Mobeen. Some of my personal heroes growing up, Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, and Nelson Mandela. What was common amongst them all, you may ask? They all faced injustice, and they all stood up for Palestine. For Malcolm X's speech in Cairo in 1964, he states, "The problem that exists in Palestine is not a religious problem. It is a question of colonialism. It is a question of people who are being deprived of their homeland." From Muhammad Ali, "I declare support for the Palestinian struggle to liberate their homeland." From Nelson Mandela, "Our freedom is incomplete without the freedom of the Palestinians." I'm sure you've heard, Council, how the people of Palestine had painted murals of George Floyd. Why am I saying all of this? After months on end of people explaining and expressing the plight of the Palestinians and the injustice they've been facing for over 75 years, it deeply saddens me that you two effectively voted against a ceasefire resolution. I was hoping you would look out for the people in Palestine, as did great leaders of the past of the black community, as the children of Gaza who resonated with the suffering of George Floyd would hope. I so wanted my city of Raleigh to be one of the many to call for a ceasefire resolution. And let's not forget about the Ethiopian black Jews living in Zionist Israel itself, who have routinely been forced to take Depo-Provia, a contraceptive injection, so they are not able to procreate and have offsprings of their own. This is well known, and lawsuits have been filed against Israel for their sterilization of black women. The same racism based solely on skin color Black America has faced for many years due to hatred and bigotry like that of Zionist Israel. Free Palestine, and again, in the words of the late great Dr. Martin Luther King, an injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Thank you. Ceasefire now.
Okay, Speaker 28. Okay, Speaker 29. Okay, Speaker 30. Are you Speaker 30?
I am. I'm Ezra.
Before you begin, I've been asked by the City Attorney's Office to read this statement. Before the next speaker begins, I need to alert the viewing audience that the speaker's presentation includes images that are graphic in nature and that viewers may find disturbing. Thank you.
So I didn't really prepare a lot of words for you guys tonight. And the reason for that is because I have been coming here for 7 months along with many other people about the same cause, pleading for a ceasefire. I'm asking you again to please vote again for a ceasefire resolution. Over 15,000 children have been killed. 15,000 children. I'm upset. I'm furious, and I'm disgusted with half of the city council members sitting in front of me right now. I don't know what more to say after 7 months, so I'm just gonna let these videos do it. It's a shame that our city still hasn't passed a ceasefire. Gaza, if you remember, and I've said this before, 50% of the population are children. That's 1.1 million kids. Those are children that you see there, dead children. These are how mothers in Palestine, in Gaza, are spending Mother's Day. Begging their children to wake up. How many more children need to die, Mayor, for you to pass a ceasefire resolution?
Speaker 31, 32, 33.
My name is Sarah Haddad. I'm a Raleigh native, and I'm Palestinian, and clearly I'm Muslim. I'm going to start this off with, in 2021, you were sent a letter by an organization that identified 3 organizations that don't deny that they participate in the exchange of police force with Israel with the Raleigh PD. They sponsor it. None of these organizations listed in this letter are native to North Carolina or Raleigh. They have no investment here. Some of them, one of them is actually invested in Georgia State University. What that has to do with us, I don't know. Why do they care about the safety of what's in Raleigh? Why do they, what investment do they have in us, in our communities, because we keep each other safe? On that point, one organization makes a claim refuting the police force being used to target brown and black people is not true, but on the flip side have articles that they go and they defend the use of force, that they are participating in this system. To me, that's talking out of both sides of your mouth, and that's not something we do here in Raleigh. This matter speaks directly to the lack of personal investment of outsiders in our communities, specifically developers and outside companies that come in and what they do and how they suck the resources of Raleigh out and try to dump their money and withhold things from us and our utilities. Speaking specifically of, if you look at Detroit, Kalamazoo, big corporations came in, they dumped their money, they decided they weren't making any more money, and they pieced out and left a shell of a city. We don't need that. We need to be paying our workers, our city workers that were hanging out during the pandemic, doing all the work that we needed them to do to function, pay them an actual wage, and not just bare minimum. They need a wage that is of value. Because if we pour into our people, we pour into the grassroots of this city, and we make it better. Do what's right.
Speaker 32, 33.
Good evening. My name is Russ Gilbert, and I'm here to support the idea that workers in this city should have the right to have their unions recognized. Now, I understand that the state legislature makes it difficult for that to happen, but there's a way you can do it. It's called pass a resolution, make a policy for meet and confer. That's what the state government does. And I don't understand why any of you
Excuse
would
me.
object to doing that.
If
It's
we
a
have
matter-
any more outbursts, sir, I'm going to ask that you be removed. Not you.
I mean, you should listen to the people.
We're trying to listen to you, but there's outburst occurring.
Well,
So,
I don't think my
please
message got
continue.
lost. The important thing here is that this is a basic democratic right of people to organize and have their organization respected. I'm a member of UE 150, a supporting member, and before I was retired, I was a member of the Communications Workers of America, which has a presence here in North Carolina and supports the idea that public workers should at the very least be able to elect representatives who will meet and confer with the appropriate city officials. And I would really like to hear from some of you, or any of you, as to why you're not allowing that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Speaker 33.
Hey, this is Zoe Niebuhr, and I'm here today also to be calling for Raleigh City Councilors and the mayor to support the Raleigh City Workers Bill of Rights. Meet and confer is just like the bare minimum. You know, I'm a Teamster, I work at EPS, and we have a contract with the company, we can bargain with the company, and unfortunately for city workers who want to bargain with the city, want to bargain with the state, we got a Jim Crow law on the books that prevents them from doing that. And if y'all don't want to pass a meet and confer policy, then to me, that's passive support for Jim Crow 95-98 that the state legislature just won't repeal. And so I really want to see some action. I want you to raise the wage for city workers, even if that includes raising taxes on community members. I'm a community supporter for these city workers, and at the end of the day, they make the city run, and they should be respected and paid a wage where they can actually afford a home in the city. I mean, rents are going up, the cost of a home is going up, so I really don't think that $38 an hour minimum wage is unreasonable, given that how the cost of living has skyrocketed. So I'd really like for Raleigh City Councilors to come out and support for this, and you know, it's enough just waiting on this issue. Y'all need to take action. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Speaker 34, 35, 36.
Hi, my name is Beth Ballard. and I too am a North Carolina native. I've been here a few times speaking, hoping that someone's heart might be touched, and maybe there will be a change in what's happening in Palestine. So once again, I'm here to support an immediate permanent ceasefire, asking you to support a permanent immediate ceasefire in Gaza. I know it's all been said, it's all been witnessed, all the statistics have been quoted, but we have to continue to speak. Tonight I said, what do I say? It's all been said, but inhumanity and evil continues to be on display as the Israeli genocide of the Palestinian people continues to take place on your watch and my watch, and that's why I'm here. Please stop, stand with us, and help stop the abhorrent, intentional starvation and murder and genocide of the Palestinian people. I'm running out of time, so I also would like to ask you to support our students. Our students are standing up for justice, and our so-called leaders, such as Senator Tom Tillis, wants to stifle our students' voices and slander them. He labeled them in an email I just received today as pro-Hamas, anti-Semitic terrorists, when they actually have Jewish protesters standing arm in arm with them. They are not anti-Semitic. They are not anti-Semitic. This has nothing to do with being against Jews. They are our sisters and brothers in humanity. He has called for them to be expelled from their universities and sent to Tehran in Iran or Gaza. Where's free speech?
Thank you. Okay, Speaker 35 and 36. Okay, Speaker 37, 38, and 39.
Hi, my name is Nathanette Mayo, and I'm a member and chair of the Municipal Council of the North Carolina Public Service Workers Union, UE 150, of which Raleigh City Workers Union is one of our chapters. Durham, Greensboro, Charlotte, Rocky Mount, Chapel Hill are the other chapters. I'm here to represent the solidarity and the support of all of our public workers with the demands of the Raleigh City Workers Union budget proposal and support for the Municipal Workers Bill of Rights, which all of the council have received. I want to speak specifically about the need for a formal Raleigh meet and confer policy and resolution. You've heard tonight some of the serious concerns of city employees have with pay and how management treats workers. You've heard how management ignores, turns a blind eye to, or simply tells workers, if you don't like it, leave. Meanwhile, employees do leave, understaffing rises, morale continues to plummet, safety hazards and potential liability increase, and citizens' quality of services suffer. Who knows what the problems are and what needs to be done to fix them? The frontline workers. Meet and confer is a way for workers to consistently and regularly meet with and bring those issues to management and the mayor, have input on their resolution, and hold management accountable for following through on those resolutions. In meet and confer sessions, workers can point out where money is being wasted, what policies are obsolete, what processes do not work, what equipment is a waste of money, or which managers are a poison making the organization sick. Council must truly understand your power, your responsibility to the workers and broader community, that you create the vision and goals for the city, and you instruct the city manager and the management staff to make that vision real. Stop accepting mediocrity from them. As the capital city, Raleigh should be the headlights of the vehicle.
Thank you. Your time is up. 38 and 39.
James Bledsoe. Good evening, Council. Mayor Baldwin, Council Members Branch, Fort, and Melton. You've all served on the Council for over 4 years now, so the data I'm about to present shouldn't come as a shock to you. I've been telling you about it for the past few years when we've been running for office together. To the rest of council, please take heed. If you'd like to confirm the data I'm about to present, you can check NCSBI and Raleigh NIBRS. City Council, we have a safety problem in Raleigh. Burglaries, vandalism, and theft are on the rise, but unfortunately so are two other types of crime. Violent crimes like murder and rape are at their highest in over a decade. In 2012, Raleigh had 12 murders and 75 rapes. Those numbers continue to rise along with Raleigh's growing population. In 2018, there was a small decrease in those two crimes. However, in 2019, Raleigh jumped to 29 murders and 200 rapes. That's over a 100% increase. Since then, murder has gone up to 45 a year in 2022 as the high, and reported rapes have stayed near the 200 reported case ceiling. These crimes are rising, but the number of first responders we have and their pay is not. Council, you gave a 2% raise to RPD during the pandemic, but they are still the lowest paid law enforcement for a city in North Carolina. Our first responders and city workers need a raise. I implore you to do what UNC has done and defund the DEI racket that sucks $2 million of taxpayer funds and invest that into fire, police, and city employees. Thank you. Vote James Bledsoe, Raleigh City Council.
Speaker 39.
My name is Guan Yu Chen. Good evening, Mayor, ladies and gentlemen of the City Council. The month of May, among other theme celebration, is recognized as National Bike Month. So, despite the heavy rain outside, my friend and I rode our bike here tonight to advocate the council to dedicate funding to continue implementing the current bike plan to completion, and also dedicate additional funding and city department staff resources to upkeep and maintain the current bike lane and pedestrian infrastructure. That's all I have for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Speaker 40, 41, and 42.
Hello, council members. For those who do not know me, my name is Joan Lyons, and I'm the advocacy co-chair for Oaks and Spokes, Wake County's bike and walk advocacy nonprofit. In my day job, I lead community and transportation planning efforts throughout the Northeast, Southeast, and Colorado for Johnson, Murmur, and Taunton. Our office is located at 4700 Falls of Newth Road in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I'm also a lecturer and researcher at UNC Chapel Hill. I come to you today in support of our members of Oaks and Spokes in celebration of Bike Month. If you are a member of our organization or if you walk or bike in our community, please stand up. We are here to provide feedback to council on multiple concerns, including but not limited to parking enforcement in bike lanes, the pedestrian right-of-way, which inhibits disabled populations, and encouraging you all to incorporate repealing the bicycle and pedestrian funding limitation into your state's legislative priorities, and prioritization and diversification of budgetary funding allocated to multimodal projects throughout Raleigh. While the state of North Carolina owns the second most state-owned roads in the United States, you have the power to affect change on what is within your right-of-way by repealing the funding limitation at the state level and encouraging participation with your legislative priorities for this. In order to advance your sustainability, equity, and climate goals, I would encourage you to engage at state-level policy and prioritize this funding to provide safe, equitable, and sustainable transportation investments. I hope to discuss this with your staff, committees, and commissions, and our team at Oaks and Spokes. We look forward to the conversation. Thank you for your time.
Have you spoken to our bike ped?
Of course.
Group, and
Yes.
are they bringing something forward?
There is a bike plan that is coming up in the future that there's notice to proceed, but this is not just a bike plan. This is also for other multimodal connectivity. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thanks. Speaker 41.
My name is Jody Anderson. I'm a member of International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 553, and the Raleigh Wake Workers Assembly, and I'm here to stand with the Raleigh City Workers Union, UE 150, in calling on City Council to pass the Worker Bill of Rights and other proposals. The city workers truly make this city run. I right now work out at the wastewater treatment plant. I see city workers every day. I'd like to see how long you could go without those workers. I don't think it would be very long. They're putting out fires constantly. I'd like to see how long you could go out without the water workers, right? How long you could go out without solid waste. I think Durham found that out pretty quick, right? They turned around and listened to their workers. And we need to get a step ahead of that, listen to our workers before it comes to that. And these workers deserve so much more than what they're getting right now. I think we've seen that today, and anyone who talks to the workers knows that. I also want to speak briefly against the undemocratic, anti-worker shortening of the term limits. This serves to insulate leaders from popular pressure and work in the interests of those with money. So us workers have a stake in that as well, and I encourage everybody who can to sign those petitions. And additionally, the City Council has failed to do the bare minimum about the ongoing and somehow escalating genocide in Gaza. That also is a workers' issue, and we're not going to forget when elections come around, hopefully 2 years, not 4 years, and the world won't forget. So do right by workers and all three of those issues. As worker issues, you need to show that you stand with workers, because that's most of us.
Okay, Speaker 42, 43, 44.
My name is Noura Zain and I'm 12. More than 40,000 people in Gaza have been killed and half of them are kids. How can you continue to be silent about this? Rafah is supposed to be a safe zone, but instead they are bombing Rafah day and night. Do you hear how evil this is? If this happened to any other kid in the world, they would matter, but why when it comes to Palestinians, you're silent about it? As a kid, I can't even imagine how hard it would be to be an orphan or want to go to school but can't because all of the schools are bombed. How can you be able to support for a ceasefire but choose not to? I want all kids to be able to have a future. Mother's Day was on Sunday, but thousands of kids don't even have a mom to give gifts to or to hug. Raleigh needs to wake up, and enough is enough. We know you won't be in office next term, but my generation will always remember you as the mayor who never stood against Palestinian children being murdered. What a shame. Israel has stolen land, years, homes, culture, freedom, loved ones, memories, peace, dreams, hopes, but never God. You will see that Palestine will be free. Free Palestine, ceasefire now.
Thank you. Speaker 40. Please, no outburst between speakers. Thank you. Speaker 43 and 44.
Hey, y'all. I was initially going to start off my time with talking about budget issues.
Could you give your name, please?
It's on the screen, 43, Niquay Williams. But I want to take a moment just to have a moment of silence after hearing the young lady speak. If y'all aren't triggered by her words, then something is wrong. So let's just take a few seconds, please. And I want to say thank you to the young lady, the 12-year-old, for being so brave to speak. I am a solidarity member of our local union, UE 150. Sorry. And we're here to demand that council members support and approve the Workers' Bill of Rights. I am also a member of Refund Raleigh, and for the last 3 years, we've been fighting to organize for a mental health crisis response unit in our city. We even supported the city's engagement process, which helped provide over 1,400 surveys where community members were very clear in their need and their demand for a community response team for mental health crisis. In a city council meeting from April 16th, I believe you all were debriefed on that survey, and it was very clear that community members wanted a program that was completely independent from Raleigh Police Department. But from that debrief, we were told that it would not be funded, and I'm here to say and ask and request and demand that it is funded in this year's budget. And for the council members who, oh yeah, it is true, it's not going to be funded. The community crisis response is not going to be funded in this year's budget. And
Hey, ma'am, your time is up. Thank you. But that is not accurate. Ma'am? I'm going to have to ask that you be removed if you continue. Please. Speaker 40. Okay, we can end the meeting right now, or we can obey the rules of decorum. Speaker 44.
My name is Ngaza. I stand with the Public Service Workers Union U150 and with Refund Raleigh and with Palestine too. I want to start out by talking about the decision to extend these city council terms. I looked at a news clip and I saw you, Corey Branch, up there with this quote: "If there's an upspurt of individuals who say, no, we want it to be on the ballot, there's a process for that." We thought we were part of the process when we participated in the city surveys 2 times, in which 50% of respondents each time said we're against this. That was what we thought we were part of. But even beyond that, what would the extra 2 years help y'all do? Like after that, would you then decide that you support the City Workers' Bill of Rights like we've been talking to y'all about? We've been asking to meet and confer with the city manager right there. We've been asking for safety committees, promotion committees, been asking for union representation at grievance hearings, and been asking for employee participation in the annual budget process. And some of y'all have the courage to stand with city workers. We appreciate y'all. Some of y'all do not have the courage though, and it shows. But even beyond that, with these extra 2 years, would they help you then do something to increase affordable housing? We've been watching the cost of housing rise in the city, and the city has yet to respond to it. We hear y'all pointing to different projects that are coming eventually that'll increase affordable housing, but nobody can ever give us any details. When are these projects actually gonna be ready? At the same time, while the city is struggling to create affordable housing, you're facilitating the construction of unaffordable housing all the time. We see it all around the city. So the crazy thing is you're asking for another 2 years. We vote for you. You vote for developers. How does this happen every time? The thought of Corey Branch, Stormy, Mary Ann, and others of you getting another 2 years when we come to you with issues regularly and you look at us with no response. This is unacceptable right here. And the last question that we have is, why do you not respect us, the people that vote for you, the same way you respect developers? Thank y'all.
Speaker 45, 46, and 47. Do you have Speaker 45 here?
That's me.
Thank you.
My name is Athena Wallen, and I live on Brookside Drive, and I assume that you're familiar with the proposal at this point. Today, I have fewer than 120 seconds to explain how road visibility is fundamental to establish equity of use on public roadways. If we know Brookside has demand for diversified infrastructure, is classified as a collector street, and thus already accommodates a variety of vehicles and people, then any upcoming traffic change has to be intentional to better protect against the most unpredictable variable of human error. The proposal, like the one suggested for Brookside, can be adapted to better serve all the modalities and consider bike ped safety. Reduce obstructed views at points where traveling public interact, such as intersections, driveways, sidewalks. Visibility is critical to provide a greater margin of error, especially when seconds make a meaningful difference. And I know because 10 years ago, I learned that it took 2 seconds of me being invisible by a driver to make a scuff mark on the back of an SUV, and I still struggle with daily pain, and I'm still afraid of riding my bike every time I get on it. 2 seconds of me not being seen because of parked cars on a street while a driver was operating a vehicle at low speeds still has consequences. The Parking Division has applied their understandably vehicle-oriented perspective on how to maximize parking for this area. They've demonstrated that overwhelmingly there's a surplus of space with a maximum of 53 standard sedan, or with a maximum of about 53 standard-sized sedans being able to park on that same stretch of 2 city blocks. This is nearly enough for the 22, soon-to-be 30 current households on Brookside to park 2 cars. We have more than enough space to accommodate the parking requests. Bring back a little.
Could we get an update on this project in the manager's report? Okay, thank you. Speaker 46 and 47.
Good evening. My name is Hella, and when I voted for you, Mayor, I thought the minimum I was voting for a human being, and I've seen people beg. I didn't think we need to beg to save the lives of children, but I wanted to play this short recording from two NGOs, Helena Ranchel from Doctors of the World, which is a French NGO, and then Alexandra Seya from Save the Children.
It's a lie. There is not a safe area anymore in Gaza. When you walk around Rafah, the number of children that you see who have lost one or more of their limbs, who have been maimed, is staggering. There are children with cerebral palsy, children with cancer who require treatment, children and elderly who are so starved that they can barely walk. These people cannot just pick up and relocate to another area, to a so-called safe zone or a so-called humanitarian zone. It is not possible. There is no possible evacuation plan that will alleviate civilian harm. These displacements constitute forcible transfer in grave breach of international humanitarian law. Gaza is closed. Nothing is going on. Nothing and nobody is going out. So every hour that the Israeli army maintains this closure of this Rafah crossing is intolerable, is really a humanitarian catastrophe. The number of people and the number of children that we have seen killed over the last 7 months has been unparalleled in terms of pace in comparison to any recent crisis. And the pace that people are being pushed to starvation is also unprecedented. There is a real risk that any semblance of a humanitarian response will come to a complete halt to the potential imminent Rafah incursion, and unless all crossing points are open, the humanitarian access needed to stave off famine that was projected back has not been granted. Any of the commitments that were made at the beginning of
Okay, thank you. Your time is up, ma'am. Thank you. Speaker 47.
Hi, everybody. Hello, Jane. My name is Cameron. I moved here 2 years ago, and I've been working and living without a car since then. I'm pro-density. I'm pro-transit. I love this city, and I understand that we're at an inflection point in growth and development. I wrote a few words just before I came here, biked through the rain, and I think I'm almost dry now, about bikes. So just keep that in mind next time you are making a decision about bikes or development or adding another lane or another parking deck or whatever it is. Just something to think about. So here it is. What is a bicycle to you? Is it a toy? Is it a fun memory with a parent or a child? Is it a rusty bucket of bolts that sits in your garage? Is it a tool you use for a good workout? Is it something you only use on the greenways, or do you use it on the streets too? Do you get groceries with it? To me, a bicycle is a tool I use to bring people together and to change the world. Bicycles are the first step to a better future as a city. They are cheaper than every other option. They take up less space, and they play nicely with many other modes of transit and transportation. Bikes are not toys, they are tools. With these tools, we can make a healthier, more vibrant, and more desirable city. And when I'm talking about bikes here, I'm talking about people on bikes, and specifically hundreds and thousands of people on bikes. And we can get there by investing in infrastructure and by making it a collective priority. So that's it. Thanks.
Thank you. We have speaker now 48, 49, and 50.
Hello, my name is Maren Hurley. I would like to thank those of you who have already stood in support of the Workers' Bill of Rights and in support of a ceasefire resolution for Palestine. I'm here today to talk about the budget for the upcoming year. Since December 2023, over 1,400 surveys were collected by from Raleigh residents. That is on top of the surveys that were conducted by Refund Raleigh in 2020 and 2022. The community has been extremely clear. What they want and what has been demanded for multiple years of this council is a fully funded community response team. That means a response team that is completely independent of Raleigh PD. Raleigh PD has terrorized the Raleigh community, particularly the Black and brown communities of Raleigh, for decades. Acorns, in particular, has so deep distrust about RPD's ability to handle and de-escalate any mental health response situation. It is ridiculous that the city has allocated $800,000 of taxpayer money to Acorns after saying publicly that there would be an alternative response team. It is not enough to add clinicians to the ECC, and it is not enough to add peer support specialists to the Housing and Neighborhoods Development Department. That may be a step in the right direction, but what we need most of all is a community alternative response program that is fully funded and does not include any oversight or inclusion of Raleigh Police Department. That is what Raleigh needs and what Raleigh is asking for.
Thank you. Speaker 49. Speaker 50 and 51 notified us they won't be here. So I would ask that Speaker 52 and 53 be prepared to come up after Kurt.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Kurt, and I'm a relatively new resident here in Raleigh. I work in roadway design, and as I've gone more into this field, I've been shocked at just how many different groups play a part in the geometric design and configuration of our roadways. In particular, I was really shocked to see how much politics at both a municipal as well as a state level play into that design. I am here today because I feel like it is important for the City Council, the City of Raleigh, to take action in this time and the geometry of our roadways. I hear so much about how the City of Raleigh, the Triangle at large, and the entire state of North Carolina is growing. I think that means that this time that we're living in right now is really important to push forward more infrastructure development and diversify our transportation infrastructure with bikes, with pedestrians, and with transit. We've seen a lot of other cities similar to Raleigh, though a little bit further along in their life. I think of Charlotte, I think of Atlanta, that have been crippled by a car-oriented infrastructure. I hope that the City of Raleigh will take action to avoid this future and create a more diverse network that works for all of its citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker 52, 53.
Hi, my name is Alex Brissett. I want to point out first that I'm here with my wife, Athena. She spoke earlier. It's her birthday today. The last time we were in this room to talk about this topic was our wedding anniversary, so it's important to us. That's right. So I'm also here to talk about the proposed parking plan for Brookside Drive, the street we live on. First, let me say that I'm grateful for the attention that our street has gotten, because God knows we need to reduce the traffic and the reckless driving. If this parking plan achieves that, then I welcome it. Now, I'm told the parking plan and the plan for future bike lanes are not connected, but based on my experience advocating with Oaks and Spokes, I know how fierce the opposition can be when parking is slated to be replaced with bike lanes. In particular, Brookside Drive has nearly $1 million condos going up with only one private parking space per unit, and I think we can expect that these new residents will be angry, vocal, and organized against losing what they may think is their parking. As a temporary measure, fine, but it's absurd that we would ever prioritize the storing of private property over bike and ped safety, and I'm worried that's what will happen here. Especially on a street as critical as Brookside Drive, which connects a bunch of neighborhoods to restaurants, shopping, an elementary school. Working from home, I see tons of people commuting on bikes. I see kids on bikes, families with strollers, people walking their dogs. It's a neighborhood road, and parking cannot be the permanent solution to serve this broad community. I'm asking you now, and I'll continue to ask, that you accelerate the future bike plans for Brookside Drive as much as possible, especially with the traffic circle that's coming in. We have to take this opportunity to advance the city's goals of improving cycling infrastructure rather than let the expectation for parking take root. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker 53.
My name is Lujaina al-Masri. This past Sunday was Mother's Day, and this is the question a Palestinian mother asked for the world to answer. Would it be permissible for me to cut off my own hand to feed my children? An unfathomable question in an unfathomable scenario. There are more than 5,500 pregnant and laboring mothers in Gaza who are experiencing suffering that is unimaginable. There is no clean water, food, no adequate medical care, no prenatal care or screenings, leading to countless babies being born premature with birth defects and health problems that the mothers had no idea about beforehand. A more than 300% rise in miscarriages, natural births with no epidurals or pain medications, C-sections with no anesthetic and in unsterile conditions with no pain management during surgery or postpartum. Imagine the pain you feel from a knife cut to your hand, and then compare that to an 11-centimeter incision made through 6 layers of your abdomen. Then imagine the agony of the recovery of surgery without access to the needed dressings, antibiotics, and pain medication after being sent back to their tents 3 hours after the procedure to make room for the end. Then to make it all the worse, these mothers cannot produce milk to feed their newborns due to the starvation and malnutrition. Imagine not being able to feed your children, your babies. This government has had a lot to say about reproductive health and rights over the last 2 years, claiming to care about unborn babies. I wonder if that concern translates to the Palestinian babies, or if it's reserved for American fetuses only. And finally, I'd like to thank my mother for raising me to be a good human being and to fight for what's right, and for leading me through example, as she's also spoken today in front of you. I wonder what example your actions, or rather lack thereof, is going to teach your children. Thank you.
Speaker 5455.
Speaker 54, 1324 Spring Lawn Court. Josh Bradley.
Just your name would be good, Josh.
Just trying to keep it on. Mayor and councilors, I have 3 things to bring up tonight. I'll try to fit them in. First, the investment of a half a pickleball center grant worth of money for programs to help the unhoused is a good first baby step. The city should prioritize housing for the unhoused, the housing insecure, and workers. It should be prioritized over the profits of the rich and the developers. If need be, the city should create a construction division and build housing on its own hook rather than beg from developers who have shown little interest in helping the people that their developments have displaced. Second, I guess 4 of you decided that democracy was just too hard when you passed staggered 4-year terms. I'm not sure why you don't trust the voters of the city to determine the length of council terms, but I'm sure that the decision does not reflect well on those who voted not to go with the referendum. And not expanding the districts, really? That could have also been put on a referendum. So do you want to continue to represent more and more people but don't trust them to have a say in council terms? I get the city council should be your first full-time and only job. You should put that on a referendum as well. I guess your developer donors want to keep you in line, in control, and on the leash. Third, and this is old data, over 14,000 children have been killed in Gaza. What will it take to pass a ceasefire resolution? Even the weak resolution that was proposed would be something. While everyone in this country has blood on our hands, whether we want to or not, due to the funding of this genocide, the people who have the power to make a statement but will be remembered only for the fact that they turned a blind eye to genocide and death. Please pass the ceasefire resolution. Solidarity with the student encampments, Free Palestine. 2, 1. Thank you.
55. Speaker 55. 56, 57. Speaker 56 here, 57 or 58. Okay.
Cole McMullen. Today was the deadline for property owners within the proposed Blue Ridge MSD to petition the city clerk for removal. However, because many of these residents that live within the proposed boundaries are tenants, they are not the property owners and are thus prevented from being able to formally petition for removal. Therefore, I think it only fair that all apartment complexes within the proposed boundary be removed from the MSD if it is implemented. The survey done by the Community Engagement Department strongly indicates the amenities this MSD proposes do not align with what residents are willing to pay for, and since it is the businesses businesses in the area that want these amenities, it should be the businesses that pay for them, not the residents. And since I have time, I'd like to address some comments from the public hearing, particularly the wild claims from Wake Up Wake County that this MSD is needed for public transit, affordable housing, and housing density. Given that there won't be a single cent from this MSD that is used for any of those things, I think these claims are extremely exaggerated at best and blatant lies at worst. Just my speculation, but I think the reason groups like Wake Up Wake County take an interest in MSDs isn't because they care about the public good that these things, like enhanced public transit and affordable housing, provide. Rather, they dangle these promises as a carrot while they create opportunities to enrich their own members and profit on the backs of tenants. To successfully pull this off, they need city council out of the way. This MSD moves decision-making power from city government to private interest and gets city council and the public out of the way. As a resident, I am vehemently opposed, and if I were you, I would vote no. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have completed the list of speakers for tonight's. What's your number? And that's the only one. Yes, and he spoke, so that's the only one. You have to be signed up to speak, and I'm going to have the city clerk.
Mayor and Council, we're fairly meticulous with the sign-up sheet.
Excuse me. Lou?
We try to be very meticulous with the sign-up sheet. We only received one request to speak under that name.
Okay. All right, sir. If somebody isn't signed up, we don't allow them to speak, so thank you. Our clerk is saying no. With that, I will be adjourning today's meeting. Thank you very much.
Great.